All right. Hello, everybody. This is Fine Editions, and I'm here with Midnight Pure.
Yeah,
Um, say hello.
hello.
So, he has been on a few of my Star Wars, a few of the episodes of my Star Wars podcast. And tonight we felt like let's do a little stream. I have right here the Lego Dune set. Um, I bought it because, well, I've been really diving into Dune, and it's only one set, so I won't go broke trying to collect them all. And I think it's something nice, new, and fresh to build besides Star Wars. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna break this open and then go over it, build this. But while I'm doing that, JoJo, the midnightiest of pures, will
Yeah.
be going. We'll be talking about wrestling a little bit because he's heard me talk about Star Wars forever since we met, since we became friends, and so he's gonna hit me with the wrestling information, the backstory, the deep lore, the expanded universe of wrestling.
Honestly, I could.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it all started with Cain and Abel, right?
No,
But
it
that was
actually all
real.
started with Kane and the Undertaker.
Oh,
No, I'm kidding.
yeah.
It is really funny though. So I guess we can start on that topic because it actually gets us into a very important concept in the world of professional wrestling, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are these two wrestlers. I don't know if you've heard of Kane, but I feel like you've surely heard of the Undertaker before, right? He's one of
Yes, I have.
the biggest names in wrestling. Yeah. So holy crap, that is loud.
Sorry. Oh my
My,
gosh, there's so much in here.
I'm going deaf from that. Okay, I'm gonna just turn that down. But yeah, so in the world of professional wrestling, uh, the man Mark Calloway played The Undertaker, his on-screen persona, and Glenn Jacobs played the character Kane. And so in wrestling, they were half brothers, The Undertaker and Kane. And back um, really when wrestling hit mainstream around like the 70s and 80s especially, there came into creation a concept called kayfabe. Kayfabe essentially being um, the wrestlers being their characters both inside and outside of the ring and sticking to wrestling being as quote unquote real as it possibly can be. And so it's basically taking that same suspension of disbelief that you have when you're watching a movie, but just applying it 24/7. It's a lot like how you see people treat actors in in the modern day of like how people have a hard time separating the actor from their character. So if they hate the character that an actor played, they'll also hate the actor. That's
Yeah.
essentially what wrestling was doing, but like for real.
Look at this.
What's that? Oh,
So these are wings for the ship, but they look like you could make Lego Wolverine claws. What the heck?
they actually look better suited to the talons. Um, little foot
Oh
claws
yeah.
of like what's her name? X-23.
Oh yeah. I was also thinking of like the feathers for the vulture.
Yeah, either Vulture or Falcon.
Yeah. Anyway, you were saying?
Yes. So they created kayfabe, um, and the Undertaker and Kane are probably were two of the biggest. Well, the Undertaker himself was probably one of the biggest upholders of this uh, rule of wrestling, so to speak, that the character you play is the character that you are all the
Yeah.
time to keep the fans really immersed in that. Because he went so far as to just always like dressing in black in public, never speaking to people. And from the time that he became The Undertaker in 1990 to the time he retired in 2020, he never expressed himself as anything but The Undertaker in everything that he did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
And
wild.
then after he retired at WrestleMania in 2020, then there came out documentaries and interviews and all these things where the first time he was just addressing himself as Mark Calloway in the interviews. But in everything, all his TV appearances, all his wrestling, everything he had done for the last 30 years was always just The Undertaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's fun.
Mhm. So that's where that's a big part of where people get the whole like wrestling is fake thing from, is
Okay.
because of the characters that they play and take so genuinely. But as of primarily getting into the 2000s, there came a shift away from what's called kayfabe that some superstars still kind of hold to a lot and others don't as much. But what we've really been seeing a lot more is an integration of real life and the on-screen personas to where the people that you see on screen really are just kind of the real life personalities of the superstars turned up to a 10. And
Yeah.
so you do get a more exaggerated sense of the person, like that's not entirely who they are, but realistically, there are some real components of that in their character and in what they do in real life too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what really kind of broke this air of kayfabe for the first time was actually an event called I think it was the Curtain Call back around 1996 or seven, something like that, where um, there were these wrestlers, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall, and two of them, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, were going off to what was at the time WWF, but now WWE, their rival company, WCW. It was public knowledge that they were leaving and jumping ship. And At the time, so in wrestling, there's a term to describe the good guys and the bad guys. The good guys are called baby faces uh,
Okay.
because, well, which got shortened to a face, and the bad guys are called the heels. So you have
Okay.
faces and heels. And
All right.
so at that time, within kayfabe, it was taboo for faces and heels to be seen together and to be seen being friendly towards each other in any
Right.
context, whether that was in ring or even in public. And even if you were seen in public, being friends, socializing with the heels, then you know that could have real time impacts on your job and even your employment. Uh,
Oh yeah.
yeah, and so what happened during this event was all of these guys were actually friends in real life, but because of uh, the two, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, getting ready to jump ship, uh, WWE didn't really want it to be seen with the four of them having cordial interactions, essentially. But what happened was there was a an event at a show at the time, and um, when it concluded, all four men got into the ring and hugged and embraced each other. And that was a moment that got captured and spread like wildfire. And management in WWF at the time was extremely upset about that. And because Kevin and Scott were leaving, and Shawn Michaels was like the world champion at the time. He was the big name of the company. They couldn't really do anything to him. So all the backlash actually fell onto Triple H, who would later become one of their biggest wrestlers ever, and is currently the CCO of the company, the chief coordinating officer. Um, uh, and so yeah, everything fell on him. And for the next few years after that, he was kind of treated like crap and just given like a lot of terrible matches, wasn't really pushed a lot in terms of like getting championships and stuff like that. But he just really had to keep grinding to keep himself relevant. Um,
Yeah.
and so after that was the first kind of big exposure of kayfabe and like a breaking of it. And then by the time wrestling got into the 2000s, it did start to get more media exposure, more like reality TV shows, things like that. And with
Yeah.
social media becoming a thing, you really started to see a lot more of the wrestlers outside of their in-ring personas. And so by the late 2000s and getting into the 2010s, kayfabe wasn't really a thing that was acknowledged or talked about.
Yeah. Uh, Real quickly, Quinlan Voss, his name's Brennan. He's actually the guy in the group chat that we're in.
Oh, nice.
So he was in the he was able to see the eclipse. Yes, it was his comment here. It says the eclipse was cool. It was so cool. Jojo, what did you do to watch the eclipse?
I watched it with my coworkers. We sat outside on the tailgate of one of their trucks, and we got up there about 15 minutes before
Yeah.
totality, and then just sat and kind of watched as everything got covered up, and then through it for those 4 or 5 minutes.
Oh yeah. That was great. We took the class that I work in. We took them out, um, and they really loved it. Um, but yeah, that was really cool.
It was.
What's that?
I was just gonna say it was a really great experience.
Yeah. So Peyton was off today, so she
Mhm.
was with her grandpa, and them just hanging out, and they watched it, and she was like, "Does that mean I have to go to bed now? Is it the next day?"
That is so funny, dude.
And I wish I could have gotten that. I could have heard her say that. Like, I really wish that.
That is so great. I love Peyton, dude. She's so funny.
Yes. She's like, "Do I have to go to bed? Is it the next day? What's going on?" But oh man, the traffic was crazy. Bus driving. Oh, they were talking over the radio about how some buses couldn't get kids home because of the traffic.
Dude, it was wild.
It was nuts. Luckily, I had a route on the going away from the interstate, and so it was
Mhm.
not that bad. I actually drive. Have you been to my parents' house?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Well, I actually drive by their street, and
Oh,
so
okay.
it's all tucked away.
Yeah,
But
no, I heard from Luke that apparently the interstate, some people were saying the interstate looked like a parking lot.
yes, especially up by St. Louis.
Mm.
It's wild. But anyway, back to the wrestling thing.
Yes. Are there
Oh.
any questions or comments that you have about wrestling?
Not really. I mean, I think I kind of understand the concept of. I mean, it's entertainment, and
Hmm.
it's almost like it's sounding like it's like reality TV to an extent. Like with the they can't be seen together, or they'll get fired, or like just different things like that.
Hmm.
You know, they have these made up beefs, but really, it's just the creators being mad at each other. It sounds like.
Yeah, and so they do have like story writers and uh, you know, management and stuff like that that does a lot of things. And so a lot of the dramatized stuff that you see is scripted, the
Yeah.
outcomes of certain matches and stuff. Now, there have been some pretty infamous events and rivalries throughout wrestling that haven't been scripted, that a
Yeah.
lot of people, just like when you're watching a movie and things are improvised, there are a lot of things that people don't know that were like actually like real beats, real things that happen, or when you're watching matches like because wrestlers do a thing that's called selling, which is just like when they uh, hype up a move that they've taken to make it look like it hurt a lot more.
Oh yeah.
unless you've like really seen a lot of matches and like uh you know what real injuries look like in the ring and stuff, like it's hard for people to distinguish between what's real and what's fake. And so to a lot of people, everything they do is just fake. They don't realize that like there are a lot of real things that they take in the ring. Um,
Right.
and so what I was getting to before that is there are some real things in wrestling where either the rivalries that they made into a story actually came from real life stuff. Like one of them was in the 2000s. There was this love triangle between these three wrestlers, Edge, Matt Hardy, and Lita, a woman, Lita. And they took the real life thing that had happened of how she was previously dating the guy Matt and then
Yeah.
started dating Edge and the rivalry and tension that that created between them in real life and actually wrote it into a story for on screen. And so a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
their hostility that they were showing towards each other was actually kind of real. Yeah.
That's
And
wild.
I think the greatest event that gets talked about a lot, it goes back to that guy Shawn Michaels that I was talking about. He's touted as like one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, but kind of goes back to him again, back in the um, mid '90s. I think it was at WrestleMania 12. He competed against a guy named Bret Hart, who was also one of the biggest names in wrestling at the time. And they had the longest main event in WrestleMania history, still to this day. It was a 60-minute, what's known as an Iron Man match. So
Oh,
the wrestlers are
Iron
given 60 minutes. Yeah, they're given 60 minutes to compete, and it's whoever can score the most pinfalls or submissions within that 60 minutes wins.
Oh yeah.
And so they wrestled the entire 60 minutes with neither man scoring a pinfall or a submission. And so they went into sudden death.
Yeah.
And then they continued wrestling until what had happened was Sean actually locked in Brett's signature submission move, the sharpshooter, on Brett. And then Vince McMahon, the owner of the company, uh, called for the uh, ref to have the bell ring as if Brett had tapped out to have Sean win the title.
Yeah.
And Brett
Ooh.
didn't know that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And so it was called the Montreal Screwjob. And because Brett was leaving the company, so this was again a matter of a guy leaving the company. And Brett and Sean really also hated each other in real life. Like there
Oh.
were times where they would like get close to having like backstage fights and altercations. And Brett at
Jeez.
one point had said that he would kill Sean if he ever saw him again.
Jeez.
And so yeah, they really had a falling out over that one. And so yeah, they straight up actually messed this guy over to have the belt change hands.
Wow.
And at the end of the match, Brett actually spat in Vince McMahon's face, like for real too.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Now, is this like real drama or is this like hyped up drama?
No, it's real and it's been talked about for decades. And Brett's talked about it in many interviews, even after he retired from wrestling. So he had no stake in keeping it up and making it look real.
Right.
Um,
Oh,
but yeah, no, this is a serious thing that he and Sean didn't work out and like reconcile until years and years later.
really?
Yeah,
Man.
and at that time too, Sean was a drug addict and also wrestling, and he was just a real jerk and butthole to everyone backstage and that he knew and wrestled with, and even a lot of his friends, he was kind of a jerk to, and he had drinking problems and problems with drug addiction, and um, in around 98, 99, something like that, he had injured himself in what was called a casket match against the Undertaker at a wrestling pay-per-view called the Royal Rumble that year. And he landed with his tailbone. He went over the top rope and landed on his tailbone on the
Yeah.
casket.
Ooh.
Uh, and I think it like shattered his tailbone or something.
Uh,
And he couldn't wrestle anymore. And so he had stopped wrestling for about 3 or 4 years until he returned. And in that time, he got his life together. He got married. He became a Christian, and really came back as just like an entirely new man from what he was before.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Nice. It's sometimes it's hard to tell how what's seriously like acting and fake and what's
Hmm.
serious, because
No,
like they
for sure.
have to play it off, because if they make it, like let's say they're bullying each other and it's like, well, they
Hmm.
kind of have to play it off, but also they don't, and it's interesting.
Yeah. Primarily, especially nowadays, whatever you see as far as like the dramatic side of it, that's usually fake. That's all things they already know is happening in advance. And that's pretty scripted.
I
As
gotcha.
far as what goes on in the ring, though, that's where it takes a little bit more of a trained eye to differentiate between like uh, what's going on. Because in the breakdown of a wrestling match, you have certain things that are just gonna hurt no matter how you do them.
Oh,
You
of
have
course.
certain things that you're also trying to protect your opponent on as much as you can while you do it, while making
Right.
it look as realistic as you can. And then you have certain things that are too just a collaborative effort between the superstars to pull off this move in the most spectacular way that it can look, a lot like a choreographed scene in like a movie or something like that, but
Right.
done in real time in front of a live audience. And so it's really a lot like a physical theater because it combines elements of like a lot of different combat sports and stuff that you see. It's done in front of a live audience, and it's especially nowadays it's done in one take. So back in
Yeah.
the day, actually, Monday Night Raw was their only live weekly show that they did, and
Oh,
then later
really?
they yeah, and then later they came out with a show called SmackDown, Friday Night SmackDown, and
Yes.
for well over a decade, almost two, if not maybe upwards of two. That show, it came out in 1999. It was introduced by The Rock, and it was actually named after one of The Rock's catchphrases, "Lay it the SmackDown."
Oh, yeah.
Uh, yeah, and so that show for the longest time was pre-taped, and so all the backstage stuff they did or anything they did during matches and stuff like that, if there was anything they wanted to edit, they would do all the editing, put it together, and then air it on TV. It was never actually aired live until just a handful or so of years ago.
Really? I see. I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
and then there's another show they have called NXT that until that started back in 2010, 20, yeah, I think around 2010, as basically a game show where they would have people that came on who wanted to be wrestlers in WWE, and they were
Right.
given mentors essentially that were actual WWE superstars who would
Yeah.
coach them in completing various tasks and challenges and stuff that they had for them. But then also here and there, they would have like real wrestling matches between the up and comers who wanted to have a WWE career. Later, that got rebranded into WWE's actual developmental brand. So people would sign a developmental contract with WWE, become a wrestler on NXT, and go through that process of training to become a professional wrestler while also training to learn how to make a character and do all the backstage, so do all the promos, the showiness, and relate to the audience, and also have in-ring matches and stuff that were taped and then later shown on Wednesday nights. But then later, NXT became its full-blown brand that now has live shows. It has its own pay-per-views and all that kind of stuff
That's
too.
cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. Now, you showed me that one movie about that woman wrestler,
Yeah, Paige.
Paige. Okay. So, when did that take place? Where does that like, I guess you're still in kind of the history of you know the show wrestling and
Hmm.
the production of it. Um, when did she become kind of a like popular? I mean, she got her own movie.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
so Paige's story is one that, as far as WWE, started around like 2014, 15-ish,
okay,
when uh, she debuted in NXT, and I believe she became the first ever NXT Women's Champion,
okay.
at a very young age as well. I don't know if she's still the youngest, and I can look this up right quick to get my facts straight here. Hopefully, this doesn't actually make me leave the call. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you.
Okay, good. Um,
Trying to find a piece. Where'd it go? It's a black. Oh, it's not even the piece I thought it was. Okay.
so yeah, she won the NXT Championship back in 2013, I believe. Sorry, also if you hear my microwave, I'm heating up food. Let's see.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're good.
so okay, yeah, so 2013, that would have been when she was 21.
Okay.
She won the NXT Women's Championship. And then on her debut match on Monday Night Raw in 2014, she beat the then Divas champion AJ Lee to become the Divas champion at the time. At which point, I think she would have still been 21 or maybe just turned 22.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
And so
rem-
yeah, her. Hmm.
Oh, I remember the movie. It's just time in movies is kind of hard to estimate because the actors are usually the same age throughout the film. But
Yeah, so she grew up in a wrestling family over
yes,
in England, and then made her transition into wrestling in the United States, and then was subsequently signed by WWE, and
right.
had a career with them for a handful of years until she suffered her first neck injury in the ring, uh, which took her out of commission for about a year or two. And then shortly after she returned around like 2017, 2018, it was on a live show that they were doing. So one of their house shows, it's one of those on the road ones, not the
Yeah,
live ones that you see on TV. Yeah,
right.
it's weird because they call them the live shows, but it's just because they do them in a live crowd. It's not televised. Um,
Yeah.
but uh, but yeah, so at one of those, she was re-injured in a match where she it was kind of a simple maneuver, but done, I guess, a little too forcefully or something, where she took like a
Yeah.
kick to the back essentially, and
Ugh.
it left her limp in the ring, and she couldn't move her arms.
Oh.
And so at that point, WWE released her as a wrestler because doctors couldn't medically clear her to compete anymore.
Dang.
And so for a little while, she was a general manager of SmackDown, and then after her career ended there, she was also a Twitch streamer for a while. I don't know if she still streams.
Oh yeah.
I know she did that for a while, but now she's actually wrestling again for a brand called AEW, which
Yeah.
is um, WWE's closest modern day competitor, but WWE has such a monopoly on wrestling now that
Right.
it doesn't have real competitors. You know, it's just it's the next biggest wrestling promotion after after WWE, I'll say, and a
Right.
lot of WWE's wrestlers that no longer wrestle for them have gone over to AEW, and some of them who stopped wrestling for WWE a while back went over to AEW, and some of them have even come back to WWE. So it's one of those things uh, where it's like they're a big name, but they don't really pose a challenge to WWE. But Paige now wrestles there under her real name, Saraya, and
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully she does okay because AEW doesn't do the same kind of like medical checks on their wrestlers that WWE
Mm.
does to
Yeah.
prevent them from wrestling if they present any like serious harm to their well-being from continuing to wrestle.
Right. Yikes.
And so Paige should be about 32 now,
Okay.
or 33, going on 33. But
Yeah.
yeah, she's still really young, relatively,
Right.
because when she first came into wrestling, she was a handful of years younger than we are now.
Right. That's interesting. Okay. Nice.
Like Luke's age, basically.
Yeah.
She was Luke's age when she won the championship.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, it is wild to me to think. So this kind of ties into that same kind of history. So Randy Orton, RKO out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He was, I believe, the youngest world heavyweight champion at like 23 or something like that.
Wow.
And Brock Lesnar was the youngest WWE champion at a similar age, like 21, 22, 23, somewhere in there. And also, I think won the championship belt faster than anyone else ever has in history,
Wow.
like post his debut.
Yeah. That's pretty neat.
But yeah, it's crazy to think that people younger than us at that time were these like
Yeah.
world champion, professional wrestlers and stuff. And
Right.
um, but yeah, no, it is a really cool and crazy story. And again, that goes back to that whole thing of like, what's real and what's fake. It So in wrestling too, another couple terms are called a shoot and a work. So a shoot is something, but when they say like someone's shooting on someone or doing a shoot, something like that, that means
Yeah.
they're actually doing something like for real. Like it's
Yeah.
not fake. Like they're either really upset about something, they're going off script, they're actually doing something, because that's what they're really doing in the moment. A
Oh,
work
really?
is something that's intended to be believed to be real. So they're like working over the crowd, essentially, is where the term work
Right.
comes from. Yeah.
Oh. We got Sam in the chat.
Heyo,
Nice.
what's up, my neighbor?
Oh.
Rush Hour reference.
Is that what he calls it?
Yes, neighbor. At least for the purpose of your.
What?
I said at least for the purpose of your stream.
Oh, yes, of course.
I don't think YouTube takes the time to me saying the actual.
Sam said it a few times.
Oh, he has? Okay. But they can't see that I'm black,
That's
and I
true.
don't sound black.
Well, your name's.
Or so I've been told.
They also can't see that. So.
I mean, Scarecrow looks black enough.
Scarecrow.
Yeah, that's my profile picture there.
Oh, it's so small. I couldn't tell. Yeah, Scarecrow's not. What? Wait. So Scarecrow creates the atom bomb in the Nolanverse. Not the atom bomb, the nuclear bomb. Is it atom bomb? Is that the same? I'm Probably seemed like a idiot saying that.
I think they were two different ones, but one used fusion, the other one used fission.
Yes. Okay. That's what it is. Hydrogen and nuclear are different. That's the difference. Yes. Okay. Because Lydia and I had a long not a long conversation, but we were just like, we were watching Oppenheimer and we were doing like history research and learning science as we were going by just to catch up with the movie.
Ah, I got
Have you seen Oppenheimer?
I still haven't, and I really need to.
That's pretty good. If you like history stuff.
Oh yeah, I know I'll love it. I just still haven't gotten around to watching it.
Yeah. Caleb wanted to go see it in IMAX.
Nice.
He wanted to drive to Indiana
Oh my gosh.
just to see it in IMAX.
I don't know why.
He,
Caleb always just wants to have the craziest adventures.
he walked like all the way to Anna, Illinois. Like,
Yeah, I know because Luke and I drove out there and met him and Corey afterwards.
oh, nice.
They were talking about how their feet were hurting like never before, dude.
Oh yeah, he's like, yeah, let's walk. I was like,
I think
what?
he said they walked something like 17 miles or something.
Hey, not bad. I could probably walk for a long time. Running, not so much. Who's this dude?
Who's the
Hi. Gonna. Yeah. No, that's what. How do I do? How do I switch back? Oh, he's muted. What the heck? What Luke Skywalker is that?
Oh, I remember seeing that thing.
What's that from, Sam? He had to mute to take the mask off. Was that a Blue Beetle mask? Probably why it was painful. Blue Beetle was not a bad movie. Have you seen it?
I have. Yeah.
It's pretty good. George Lopez steals the show. He should have been Blue Beetle. Even though I
No,
like the guy from Cobra Kai.
I'd be done.
It should have just been both of them running around. I don't know. The grandma was cool too.
Yeah. See, I don't know. Blue Beetle was weird because there were a lot of parts of it that I enjoyed, but overall, it still had that DC quote unquote charm about it that kind of just made it hurt to watch a little bit.
A little bit, but honestly, like it felt like an early Marvel movie, like an Ant-Man movie. Like that's what it kind of felt like. But young, like a younger cast of like main characters.
Yeah, I get it.
It's like they're trying to make Spider-Man and Ant-Man at the same time.
Yeah.
Are you excited for the new Superman movie?
I didn't know there was a new Superman movie.
There is. They recast Henry Cavill.
Mm.
It's by James Gunn.
Is Henry Cavill just not acting anymore or what?
He is acting. He does. He did this one movie where I think Bryce Dallas Howard plays this author, and he's one of the characters that she writes. But I think it's like where he like comes to life. I think I'm thinking of that right.
Oh, that's Gosh, I saw the trailer for it. It's like a spy-looking thing too.
Yes, he basically looks just like James Bond, and people are like, "Why isn't this man James Bond?"
Yes. Oh gosh, what's the name of that? I have it right there. I can picture it. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. She like
And then he's
writes
also
and
in
it turns
that.
out to be real.
What's that?
Like the things she's writing turns out to be real life, and don't like the FBI come in and like take her for questioning or something.
Something like that, yeah. But then he's also in this. I think it's like a thriller action movie. It's like something gentleman. So like he's still going.
Okay, yeah, I just know he's been recast in The Witcher and as Superman, which are two pretty big things.
Yeah, like
So I didn't know like what the deal was with him.
he's trying to get a Warhammer movie going, which I think will be pretty interesting because he's like a huge Warhammer geek.
Well, he's got enough money to invest into it.
He's gonna pull a Dwayne Johnson with the Warhammer franchise. DC's hierarchy of power has changed. Imagine a world where Dwayne Johnson's DC universe like came to its peak.
Dude, The Rock basically owns like a fifth of the world at this point.
Speaking of wrestling, guys,
Dude, it's crazy. Do you know about like The Rock's origins?
no.
Well,
Ex-
he started off as a pebble, which is the wildest thing.
Shut up.
I had to make a you joke. This is
You
my
did
world
that.
now, Brady.
This is your world.
Yeah, but no, so he actually comes from a wrestling dynasty family. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, it's crazy. All the Samoans in wrestling are basically related, but
oh, oh,
some some in more of like a distant kind of way, and some like direct family tree.
really? Huh.
Yeah, and so The Rock's dad, Rocky Johnson, married um, I forgot what The Rock's mom's name is, but we're married to Rock's mom, and that's the Samoan side of his family. And The Rock's grandfather was also a professional wrestler. Um, and The Rock has like basically a lot of Samoan cousins and things like that who also wrestle in the WWE. There was a wrestling tag team called the Wild Samoans who also had children who went on to wrestle, and so like The Rock's had a lot of cousins. Some of them are even in tag teams and wrestling and stuff today. And there's just a big jumbling of wrestling there. Originally, though, The Rock started off in football and was trying to have a football career. And
Oh yes, I saw that movie, The Game Plan.
yes, and so he had this daughter. What was her name?
Wait, like that's actually real?
No,
Oh,
I was just going with it. But no, this was back when he was still like basically young, dumb, and broke, and didn't
yeah.
really have anything going for him. Uh, and I think he got like an injury or something that kept him from like really going big time into football, and so he was basically living in like this run down slum of an apartment and didn't have any money. His family wasn't super wealthy, and so uh, he really found his big break in wrestling since that was a fairly easy in for him since he had a pretty big physique. His family was already big in the wrestling industry. And when he came in, his name was initially Rocky Maivia.
Okay.
It was a combination of his dad, Rocky Johnson, and his grandfather, Peter Maivia. And
Huh.
he came in as this big, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, really doofus-looking guy because he came in and some kind of Samoan gear and with this curly hair. And
Yeah.
basically, for a while, he was just getting in the ring and being the typical babyface character that didn't
Right.
really stand out too much until a couple years later, he turned heel, so into that more of that bad guy role, and we
Yeah.
really started seeing a lot more of his character, his humor, and all these things shine through. And he made the change from being Rocky Maivia to being The Rock. He started saying everything in third person, started bringing out some of that bolder, crass side, and making fun of people and coming up with all his catchphrases and things like that. And that's when in the late 90s, around 97, 98 is when we really started to see The Rock take off and like come into
So,
being as a character.
so I was born the same year The Rock was.
Essentially around the same time.
Nice.
And yeah, just his style, his sense of humor, his ability to connect with the audience. It's why he became the people's champion, is what they coined him. And yeah, he from there for the next handful of years just went on to have a pretty meteoric rise in WWE and just easily became one of the most talked about wrestlers of all time. And then, around 2002, he made a transition into Hollywood and stuff. And during that era, became Hollywood Rock, where he was acting, and then came back and used some of that to leverage his position in WWE and stuff, and talk about like how he was a hot draw and all that.
Wow.
And uh, and then shortly after that, he had his last. Um, well, he had a couple matches against Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania, and he also wrestled Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 20 back in 2002. And so after some of those strings of matches and stuff going on, and then around 03, really kind of concluding his time in WWE, he went really full time into Hollywood, and here and there would make appearances, would have matches, and back around like 2013 or something like that, came back and won the WWE Championship for a little while, and so did some more of that off and on. He had back-to-back WrestleMania matches against John Cena. The first that they advertised as once in a lifetime, and then the next year they did the exact same thing again.
Oh wow.
Hey guys,
Yeah. Hey.
what's up?
Oh, it's the Prowler.
Yep.
Okay. All right, let's take a look at that real quick.
Oh yeah.
What's up?
The Prowler. Did you? Is
Damn,
that
bro,
3D
you gonna put me on full screen? That's crazy.
Like it.
Is that 3D printed?
Yeah, I was gonna say that it is 3D printed.
Nice.
That's dope, dude.
Yeah, hold on. Let me show you. Yeah,
That's
Hold on.
cool, man.
if you look at the inside of it,
Yeah.
you can kind of see it, I guess.
Nice.
I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I just went to my friend's, got a whole bunch of free stuff because he was like
Nice.
throwing out a lot of stuff. So I just got
Ah,
this.
that's sick.
Yeah, no, bro. I got, hold on. Got a whole Blue Yeti mic for free.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now you don't need to have the sock on anymore.
No, I'm going to put the sock on it.
Oh. Yeah.
I got this. Wait. Bro, hold on. This camera's pissing me off. It keeps moving. Like, it's trying to focus on my face. Got this.
Nice.
Some Invincible. And then I got this.
Ooh.
Did you know Spider-Man dies in Invincible?
Did you guys watch it at all?
I didn't, but I've been spoiled stuff.
I haven't watched season 2 yet. Well, I watched the first episode of season 2.
You should watch it, bro. It's good. I finished it today. But yeah, I got like. Yeah, hold on. How do I fit my camera here? Oh, yeah, bro. I got all of these comics. Last Ronin.
Ooh.
Wait,
Go back from
Why
I
is
want to
it-
read that.
yeah, I got this Django Fett comic. I'm pretty sure it's
Oh.
new canon though, so I'm gonna sell it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then got Les Ronin right here. And I got some red coat, whatever that is. I don't know what it is. And then got like a new canon Obi-Wan and Anakin thing. I'm gonna sell it. And
Okay.
then like, is this Legends?
No, that's new
tomorrow?
canon.
That's new canon. Okay, good. Because it's
Your mic isn't. We can't hear you very well.
What about now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not.
You can take me off full screen now if you want. But,
Okay.
but what was I saying? Oh yeah, I was hoping that it wasn't Legends because it's like $75 for the whole collection. I was hoping I could sell it, make a
Oh,
quick
yeah.
buck.
Yeah, no. There's only one comic book that is Mace Windu titled. And that's Jedi Mace Windu from the Republic comics.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm actually reading through the Clone Wars comics. I had it downloaded on my Kindle and I was like, let's go. And so I started reading them and oh my gosh, it's so good. I can't wait to get to it for the show.
Feel that.
But I don't know if you've been listening in, but JoJo's been giving me the history of wrestling.
WWE, yeah. I heard it a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah. I've been hearing it a little bit.
Yeah.
Basically, just give him chapter 4 at the Rock.
Yep. That's
You smell
interesting.
what the Rock is cooking.
Yeah. I can't.
Yeah.
You
I
ever
can't
seen-
believe Black Adam is a movie. Lydia and I were so excited for Henry Cavill at the end.
For Henry Cavill is what?
Henry Cavill at the end of Black Adam.
Oh, and then they didn't do anything with it.
They didn't do anything, and then they recasted him. Oh!
I don't know, man. Like, that movie had a lot of potential, and they really could have gone places with it. But they just did so much so fast and just left it so ambiguous that it's like, well, what do you do with that now? You know?
It felt like it was like the script and it seems like it was made in the early 2000s. It was fun. There were some great things. Dr. Fate was the best thing about it.
Oh, dude, I love Dr. Fate.
I really I love Dr. Fate too. Like I liked him before Doctor Strange.
Crazy.
So being able to see him, even though I counted every time he took off his helmet, you know. But I really enjoyed that.
Was cool indeed.
Oh, man.
What do you think? What do you think the next movie in the Dwayne Johnson DC universe would have been? Hey, Mark.
Like, what movie would he star in next, or where would he just, like, what do you mean by that?
Where would he take it? I know he wanted to do Black Adam versus Superman, and then they'd probably do another one of those Super Pets movies. because that one was pretty good. I think
I think
Oh,
we
I
got a
didn't
couple
watch
comments.
it was fun. Of course, I've got a kid, so it makes it easier, and it's a gateway into the DC universe.
I mean, listen, bro. I watched. You remember the cartoon, Crypto the Super Dog,
Yeah,
like from the early 2000s?
Yeah.
Yeah. That if it follows along with that, I'm cool. If not,
Dwayne,
then
The
no.
Rock is Crypto.
Yeah, actually, what the hell?
Yes, he is. And
That's
Kevin Hart is Ace, the Batman's dog,
That's ridiculous.
central intelligence all over.
and it's literally just a Rock and Kevin Hart movie.
Dude, they've been what? Does that make 4 movies now or something? They've been in together.
Probably. Keanu Reeves is Batman.
That's a W.
That makes sense.
And then John Krasinski's Superman.
Sean.
That's a W too.
Yeah.
Oh, Birdie,
What?
female Silver Surfer, go.
Well, aren't Silver Surfer? Sorry, but can't talk. Isn't this Silver Surfer like a title or like a mantle that Galactus gives to different people? Is that right?
I think it's along that lines. Yeah, I just wanted to
Because,
know your take on them bringing that into the new Fantastic Four.
if like we get like actual Silver Surfer one day, like sure, that's fine. Like if it's a lead up to that. But if it's just let's make this boy character a girl character for the
That's
sake
what
of,
it's gonna be, bro.
like, I'm kind of like, what?
It's all Hollywood does, and it
don't
really
know, I feel like-
devalues it.
I feel like Disney would be afraid of messing up Fantastic Four because they, Fox
Bro,
messed it
bro,
up so
no,
many
No,
times.
they
Dude,
weren't
Disney's not
afraid to
afraid
mess
of
up
messing
Star
up
Wars, bro. They weren't afraid to mess up Star Wars. What makes you think they were gonna be afraid of messing up Fantastic Four?
Well, someone else already did it. That's my thing. Which I guess their whole marketing for the new Star Wars, or at least Episode 7, was the prequels sucked. Watch this movie. And then now their marketing is the sequels suck. Watch these movies. Or
No,
watch-
not really. They have sequel shit going on everything, bro.
But I've stopped caring. I feel like I'm looking forward to Dune Part 3.
Facts.
Let's see. What else is there to look forward to? Wait, are they having Silver Surfer as the villain of the new Fantastic Four?
I don't know as far as what the Silver Surfer's role is going to be in the movie.
Because is there a female Silver Surfer in the comics?
I've seen a drawn picture of it. I haven't actually dove into whether or not there's a real female.
Yeah. This is like, though I wish they would do like the traditional characters first before they branch out, like they did with the Hulk. Like, you know, we did Hulk and then later we do She-Hulk. Like that makes sense. Unless in like in another movie they bring back what's his name who played Silver Surfer. Like that'd be
You played who?
who was he in the Rise of the Silver Surfer?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so apparently this Shala Ball, the female Silver Surfer, originally appeared in Silver Surfer #1 in 1968.
Oh, so it was a girl originally?
Well, I see a male. I'm gonna look.
No, she might be in it, but like she's not the actual Silver Surfer.
So
I think she was a person. It looked like. It might have became the Silver. Give me 1 second. Let me look. Okay, so it says she was the immortal empress of Zinla and the lover of Nornrad, the Silver Surfer, who becomes the
Oh,
herald of Galactus in exchange for his planet being spared, separating lovers for eternity. So she was a love interest of the original Silver Surfer.
oh, okay. So I think she was in the TV show too. So are they saying that she's the Silver Surfer now?
In this one, yes.
I honestly like if they make it where it's like a Spider-Gwen situation. Like I don't hate that. At least they're not doing Taskmaster, where it's like, oh, it's just a girl. But it doesn't matter because they don't show their face until the last 5 minutes of the movie. Um, but I don't know.
Yo, boys, I gotta hop off because I got work in the morning, and I also have another job interview tomorrow. So
Oh, nice, man. We'll pray for you that goes good.
I appreciate it, bro. I hope it does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Y'all have a good one. God bless.
You too. God
Thanks,
bless
man.
you.
You have a good one.
You too, man. See ya.
I don't know. What do you think, JoJo?
Sorry about what? I'm still reading up on.
About the Silver Surfer being his girlfriend instead of him.
I don't know, man. Again, it just goes back to it really depends on what their end game with all of this is, because historically so far we've seen over the last practically decade at this point, anytime they're bringing in these female characters to replace their male counterparts, it's usually just to the ends of the whole like affirmative action process of just including women and things rather
Okay.
than actually doing it to a point. And that's what I was saying earlier. It kind of devalues the whole thing because you're bringing in women just for the sake of bringing women and then giving them no real plan or purpose. They're just there to be a woman. And then
Oh,
people just become kind of infuriated and sick of it because it's like every woman's either the same female empowerment kind of thing or they're the same sex symbol kind of thing. And
yeah.
without any like real substance and real relatability and character that you can really connect with and get behind, it's like, well, what's the point of them even being there, you know? And then people just kind of become jaded towards it, which defeats the whole purpose of like bringing them in the first place because no one wants to see them.
I gotcha. Huh. Yeah.
So like personally, I don't have a problem with them doing this, and I do appreciate the effort that it at least takes to bring in the uniquely female Silver Surfer rather than just saying we're gonna take the original Silver Surfer and just make it a girl now.
Yeah.
Um, because you know a lot of things have been doing stuff like that. We're just gonna take it and make it something else rather than just having an original character. So they've at least done that part. Now the thing is, are they actually going to make it meaningful? And the thing is, it's kind of hard to do that because this is their first in this brand of the Fantastic Four as well. So it's like the question then becomes like, what are people going to connect to in this Silver Surfer that makes it meaningful if this whole universe of the Fantastic Four that they're building now is unique to this like first instance of it being brought to the big screen in this fashion.
I gotcha. Yeah.
And I think they kind of make it even harder. It's like it's essentially like, you know, what if Black Widow was the first time we saw, like the movie was the first time we saw Natasha in the MCU? How would she have been perceived as a character as opposed to being brought in with Iron Man and then built up and then later had her own movie, you know?
Yeah. I gotcha. Yeah, I feel like you'd enjoy the movie better if you watched the other films first, where it by
You
itself.
definitely enjoy it better if you watched their most recent one first and then you watch this because I can near enough guarantee that it won't be worse.
What?
I'm talking about Fantastic Four now.
Oh, Fantastic Four. Oh.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
but yeah,
Well,
no. On the topic of like MCU, yeah,
yeah.
of the Avengers.
I mean, you'll have to watch. Like they're making it not as a continuation of those, and
Hmm.
I don't know if they ever plan on tying them together. They might. They might do like, in Secret Wars, have the Reed Richards team up or
I
something.
still need to finish reading my Secret Wars comic. I've had this comic for over a decade and
Yeah.
still have never read it. Yeah.
Which Secret Wars is it?
Pull it out.
Is it the original one? Or is it the original one or is it the newer one?
This is the one from July 1999.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to think because I think there was a Secret Wars in like the 70s or 60s, and then yeah, there's that one, and then I think there was a Secret Wars 2 or something. They did
Okay.
something in like whenever I was in high school. I remember the Battle World or something. Maybe they just reused the storyline.
Because this one has like all the chapters of Secret Wars in it. It's just called Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars.
Gotcha.
Marvel's Finest, Marvel Comics.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, I actually have to go to bed. I've got to work in the morning. So thanks for hopping on, man.
Yeah, no problem, dude. Pretty fun.
And thank you everyone for watching. Do you have anything you want to plug?
As usual, just YouTube and Twitch, Midnight Pier on both platforms. I stream and upload gaming videos.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe to Midnight Pure as well. Thank you, everyone. Bye.